And so we're going to start now. Hi, I'm comedian Jeff Bodart. This is like the 10th time we've done this shit, and you're watching The Ego's Last Stand.
When I come around, got the whole thing wobbing.
And we're back for another amazing episode of The Ego's Last Stand. And I have to enunciate that because every time I say that really fast, people go, The Eagles Last
That's
Stand?
what I thought you said when you first said it. I'm like, what's the theme of this thing?
Right, it's crazy. It's about eagles. It's Native American type thing. But, so we're kind of in a special place tonight. We're at the Comedy Caravan in Louisville.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, it's been a weekend because I am joined with our host this weekend, which was David Williams, and the headliner, which is Eliot Chang. And we just, guys, I thought we rocked it this weekend.
We really had a great show. And I was saying the last show of the week was fantastic.
Yeah.
I was like, what a way to go out on it. Because sometimes, like, it's a second show might be light. And I was like, whatever. I mean, I was already happy with the other shows, but it was very, you asked me how I felt. I'm like, it's kind of bittersweet. It's
Yeah,
like,
it is.
You almost were like, come on, let's just do another show at 1 a.m. Let's just do another one.
Right.
Don't we have shows at, like, Sunday? Can we do Sunday?
Yeah, let's just keep going. But it's like, look, you got to leave sometime, dude.
Yeah, and I'd rather leave on a note like that. And I think,
exactly.
I thought these two shows on Saturday were amazing.
They were great.
Yes, I agree.
Everybody, I think, had a great time. And, the club's been great. I mean, God, this club's amazing. I fell in love with this club over this week.
Yeah, my first time here, the staff is so nice. Everyone's so nice. I like the hotel. I was able to walk to the buffet. So, like, that's all I needed. That's all I needed every day, just stuffing myself. So I can't wait to come back.
Being a fat guy, I enjoy being able to walk to the buffet. I prefer if I could ride somewhere to the buffet.
Yeah, that's
but,
it.
walking's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. David, how was your weekend, man?
Oh, it was a dream come true,
I'm
man.
telling you, we talked about this, dude. It was
Dude.
and like, so just to bring you up to speed on this. All right, so how many times have you emceed at a professional club during a professional show?
This is actually my first time.
What?
Man.
Oh, I didn't know that.
This is
I knew you said this
first
is your first time here. I didn't know that. Like, no, I thought you did. I wouldn't have assumed that.
Oh, thank you very
I
much,
just felt
Elliot.
like, oh, okay. Well, good for you, dude. You did great. That's why you were wearing the blazer.
Josh told me
I tell you what,
to dress up.
Anytime I MC, I always dress because I'm representing the club, and that was just my thing.
It's better to be overdressed than underdressed. So, because Thursday we're all just kind of casual. When it came out on Friday, I'm like, oh damn, like David has a suit on. Like, what am I supposed to do? So whatever. We all had a good time.
Better.
Thank you.
Got to adjust his sound there.
Cool. Perfect.
So, out of all the shows that I've done, this is the first time I actually got to officially be in the middle.
Oh, okay.
Because I've featured plenty of times. I've done two-man shows, but I've never actually got to sit in the sweet spot before. And it's nice and warm.
Isn't it nice? You don't usually no check spot. They're not too tired yet. They're warmed up. You bastard. It's like the best. The feature spot is the best spot.
Honestly, I was so comfortable. I wanted to pee and shit in my pants. I was just like, I don't want to move. I'm good.
It's really, it's really, and there's not a lot of pressure on you either because you're like, hey, I just got to rock it, and if I don't do as well, no one will remember because I'm not the main thing. But if I do really great, everyone will be impressed because I'm not the main thing. So like, wow, you'll get to, dude, Josh, you should be the headliner. That's great.
I don't think I'm in no danger of that happening yet. But, I appreciate you saying that, but no, I mean, I thought collectively it was a great show.
Yeah.
And dude, you're funny as hell.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And we discussed it. I mean, I absolutely enjoy the way you frame your jokes. I mean, it's really fun, and I think the crowd's really picked up on it. I love the fact that you can go into a room, like we had a couple, like one night specifically that was like just cold. No matter what any of us doing, and you were out there and you just like robbed them of their dignity, and they were just like forced into going, all right, fine, I'm gonna laugh now. I'm gonna laugh.
Right. Yeah, I'm used to that though. I mean, like I go into every situation going like, look, no matter what happens, I know I'm gonna have fun.
Right.
I hope everyone does. And it's funny because I don't ever have the same game plan. I'm like, I'll just figure it out on my feet of like, all right, what's going on with this crowd?
Sure.
This is how I'll deal with it. But I don't think anything's. I never had a show where it's like I just couldn't figure anything out.
Right.
I definitely have had like sets that didn't go as well as I wanted to, but I've never just totally eaten my dick the entire set.
Right. Yeah, it was funny. Not too long ago, they asked me to open up for a comedy competition.
Yeah.
All right, so I go in there and I'm hitting him with my A stuff, and like these people were just like, "Look, fat guy, we're not here to watch you." And it's like I got off the stage and I'm like, you know, E equals MC. Like it's still all funny. Like what's going on?
Yeah.
You know, and a buddy of mine took me aside and he goes, "Well, they're just dicks. You know, they're not here to see you."
Dude, sometimes there's one or two dicks in the audience, and sometimes everyone in the audience is it's rare, but sometimes you're like, you know, I really think it's them, especially if every comic on the lineup was like saying the same thing. It's like, you know it's not you. It's like, yeah, everyone agrees it's a bad audience.
Yeah.
What can you do?
No.
What can you do?
Yeah, I did I McFeatured for, and that's what we call being an MC and feature McFeatured.
Yeah.
And so I McFeatured for this one comic who's been doing comedy for 30 years, and she never, ever drinks on stage. And I got off stage and she was like, "Woo, they're rough on you." I said, "Yeah, you better buckle your safety belt." She got on the stage 5 minutes. She was like, "Can I get a beer?"
Let me loosen up. No, for sure. I mean, the roughest crowd I ever had. When you go to LA, actually they changed the name. It used to be Monday night at the Hollywood Improv is the Black Comedy Night, and it was called More Better Mondays. And I was coming from New York where I did a lot of black rooms. I'm like, I can do this. Yeah. And people were like warning me, "Hey, listen, this room is different from all the black rooms." I'm like, yeah, whatever. You don't know what you're talking about. I got a lot of history with this, and it was rough. I was like, whoa, this is a rough crowd. And I remember in the middle of my set, and I didn't do really well. In the middle of my set, I just looked at the crowd. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do all my time. That's right. You know, 'cause I'm supposed to be here. I'm gonna finish, and then, but that was really rough. But you know what? It happens. What are you gonna do?
You know, the most important thing I think is you just land on your feet and you just keep going.
Just keep going. What are you gonna do?
Especially, you know, as an MC, one of the things that I found ended up being difficult is like if you have a feature or a headliner that's got a hard name, you know, named. I was introducing Mark Shalafoo, and I don't know if you know Mark. Mark's a Cincinnati comedian, extremely funny, great guy, but his last name does not look like how like it's spelled completely different than Shalafoo. It doesn't look like it at all. So I like phonetically put it on my hand, and Mark goes, "Listen, just whatever you say, just stick it. Just stick to it. It doesn't matter. They're not here to see me." I was like, "All right, you know, that's great." I think I introduced him as Shalwanda one night, Shalafi one time. It was like, whatever, just, here he is, Shalafi. Come on, everybody, he's on stage.
You know, I mean, luckily, like, you know, it's funny because Eliot Chang, there was a time when I started, I was thinking about changing my name.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
And because I was like, I don't think it's a good name, and I was going to take my baptized name, which is Vincent, and my nickname as a kid, which was King, because like when I was a little kid, my parents would call me King, you know, and I was like, oh, I'll be Vincent King, you know, and I was like, I think it's a cool name. But then one of my friends, one of my classmates was like, she's like, "You're gonna change your name?" She's like, "Eliot Chang is like the perfect name for comedy." And I was like, "It is?" She's like, "Yeah, it's a great name. Like, first of all, Chang, can't mess that up. And Eliot, that's like a comedy name." I'm like, "Oh," because I grew up not liking my name.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay. And then, well, now it's too late. Now it's definitely gonna have to stick because I've got credits under that. But like, yeah, I always wonder. Like, I don't think people have any trouble with my name, right? You know. Anyway.
See, I had a similar thing with my name, David Williams, dude. I try to get people to find me on Facebook, and there's like a million of them. You know?
Say, or do people ever go, "Oh, I thought it was David William."
All the time.
All the time.
Man.
Or they'll be like, "Oh, I looked up Dave Williams." Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's a common name. So what are you gonna do?
And speaking of credits, Chelsea Lately.
Yeah.
We just recently had what the hell's his name? I never remember the guy. Chris
Frangiola. Yeah. Great guy, such a sweet guy. I was telling you that I remember because I knew him in LA.
Right.
And the first time I was doing Chelsea Lately, I was like really nervous, and Jen Kirkman and him both gave me a lot of advice, and more than they needed to. Like, I just happened to see them at some event, and I pulled them aside. I'm like, "Hey, I'm doing the show next week. Do you have any advice?" And they actually, both of them talked to me for like 40 minutes each to be like, "Oh, don't worry about it, blah, 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 blah." And then I remember I told you the day of, like, and Chris knew when I was taping, but after our initial talk, I didn't really follow up with him. I was like, "Oh, thank you so much." But that day, I was in the makeup chair, and he pops his head in. I'm like, "Oh," and he's like, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm like, "Oh, what's up?" I mean, because I knew he wasn't on the panel that day. And he's like, "Yeah, I just came in to, give you a pep talk, and don't worry about it. Remember what I said." Just a really cool, super cool guy. And then every time I run into him ever since, he's just a nice guy.
He is just incredibly congenial. Very nice man.
Very nice man. Very funny too, by the way. Very funny.
Absolutely.
But when when you're funny and nice is clearly why he does well in the business. It's like he's talented, and who doesn't want to work with someone who's a nice person?
Right.
Exactly, man.
And his delivery on stage is just it's Chris. There's like nobody else that does it like he does. And so we asked him to come over for the podcast, and we were absolutely thrilled that he agreed. And so he's walking over from on Lexington Green at Comedy Off Broadway. The hotel is right there on Lexington Green, so they can just walk over. And he's walking over, and he's wearing the Marvel disguise. He has sunglasses and the hat on, and I'm like, yeah, Cap, that's not going to work. We still know it's you. He was like, all right, I got you.
You're not that famous, Chris. Come on.
People are like, Chris, my panties. Anyway.
I'm sure he'd love to hear that more. But
he absolutely would. He's it's funny that all the famous people he worked at bars with. Yeah. I mean, it just, you have experience like that? You like when you're first starting working with like famous people that like, now they're huge and you're like, hey.
I know a lot of people that I started with that, and I was mentioning this, I'm like, I don't know if it's sad or a cool thing. I'm like, yeah, like I remember when Aziz Ansari came to New York and when Kevin Hart did, and then I remember sharing the stage with Bill Burr and Jim Gaffigan, and those guys are huge now. But at the same time, we always knew like those guys are great. They're just so strong as far as comedians, and this is before they were famous. Like there was a reputation within New York itself. It's like, oh, you haven't seen Billy Burr, and that's when he went by Billy Burr. It's like, you haven't seen this guy Billy Burr, and like everyone, he was like New York famous. Like everyone in New York was like, yo, this guy's just unstoppable. He's gonna be great, and like he's huge, and like I just treat everyone the same. I don't really actually get starstruck like in the years that I lived in LA, because I'm like, maybe if I was more of an actor, I would. But as a comedian, we're just like, yeah, whatever. Everyone's a person. I'm just a comedian. Are you funny? Like the only time, there's only been a few times I've been starstruck, and one time I've met. This has nothing to do with comedy. I met Randy the Natural Couture, who's a UFC MMA legend, 5-time heavyweight champion, and he came in with Joe Rogan, of course. And I was talking to Joe. I'm like, hey Joe, could you introduce me to Randy? I've never been starstruck. I was like, can you introduce me to Randy? And Joe's like, yeah, of course, because he's probably used to it. Yeah. And I was like, oh, hey, Randy. And I was shaking. I was like, hey, I want to say, I just really respect the way you hand yourself inside and outside the cage. Can I get a picture? And he's like, yeah, of course. And I was like, Joe, can you take a picture for me? And he's like, yeah, sure. And it's so funny. I wrapped my arm around, and I didn't know I did this. And it's funny because Joe was laughing. I went like, you guys can't see. You can't.
You can see.
I went like, I did the thing where like this, and I put my fist up, and then afterwards, Joe was like, everyone does that. Everybody's like, no, like you didn't talk to Randy about it. Like everyone, he put his fist up. You put your fist up. Everyone does it. And I remember I was like, thank you so much, thank you, Randy. And I walked away. And I remember I was like shaking for about 10 minutes in the corner. I'm like, I can't believe I read it.
That's
and again,
starstruck.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But that's starstruck. But that's because like I guess that's someone who I really looked up to. But with like you see celebrities all the time in LA. You're like, all right, whatever. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe if it was someone like really big, like a Tom Hanks or something like that. Someone I really grew up watching. Sure. But there's you see a lot of like stars, who are like been stars for 3 or 4 years. And like if I saw Ariana Grande, I'd be like, all right, cool, that's her. But I'm not like, I don't really care. Right. So whatever.
Right. Yeah. Who from your childhood would be someone you'd be like, one flew over the cuckoo's nest
like
over?
Like Steve Martin.
Oh God.
Obviously, these are all comedy people.
Yeah. Well, it's because like, is that somebody you looked up to? Why you started comedy?
Yeah. Not actually. It's not. I mean, my first influence in comedy was, believe it or not, stand-up comedy was Richard Pryor, because I didn't even know he was a comedian. I was watching like when his movies would be on TV. I'm like, this is a really funny actor, like The Toy or like any movie he did, like Brewster's Millions. Like I love this guy. He's funny.
2 of my favorite Richard Pryor movies.
I love it. And then my friend like gave me like which album was it? It was like Live on the Sunset Strip, and
Jesus.
I'm like, and I was like, this guy's a comedian? I didn't know that, and that was the first time.
Fire.
Yeah, and that was my first experience with stand-up comedy, because like I only had seen it like on TV. It's very watered down. Yeah. And I listened. I'm like, oh my God, I've never heard comedy like this. Like I did the thing like I couldn't tell my parents I had it. Yeah. Because it's like too dirty. Sure. But definitely like I remember movie-wise, outside of stand-up comedy, like my comedy heroes was like Steve Martin. I remember the first time I saw like The Jerk, and I didn't know what it was. And I just saw the name, like The Jerk. I'm like, what is this? And it was just so ridiculous. I was like, this movie is hilarious. I don't even know what I'm watching. I don't even know if I fully understand comedy, but I'm like, I love this. And then I realized he had like a whole, look at his look at all the movies he's done. It's amazing.
Amazing.
One after the other. And so that. I bet that would be one person I probably wouldn't even talk to him. Like, I can't talk to him.
I'm probably right there with you. Like, obviously, I named the podcast after something that he said, and I've read all his books. I've listened to. I took his master class on how to do stand-up comedy because like I idolize that man.
Yeah. Cool.
And listening to him talk about stories about when he first started out doing comedy, he said he didn't understand like that he actually could do it until one time he was in an auditorium at a college and he was doing the show and he was just in the middle of one of his bits about, hey, I'm going to leave now. Why don't everybody come with me? One of those things. And he's walking out and the whole auditorium emptied out behind him. And like he's in the hallway and all these kids are like, where are we going? Yeah. And he's like, well, let's go this way. And like he ended up in the pool, like that was empty because it was like, wintertime and the pool wasn't open, but he ended up in the pool with like 500 kids.
Wow.
And he's like, really, the show's over now.
Yeah, now the show's over. Everyone go home.
But I mean, it's just to hear him talk about, like you don't really understand where the switch happens. All of a sudden, boom, you've got this following.
Yeah.
When did you know that it was like all of a sudden people are just like, hey, Eliot Chang.
Actually, it wasn't any TV stuff. It was YouTube, man, which is crazy. I get people coming up to me like, oh yeah, I came to the show because I saw your face and I follow you on YouTube. I'm like, oh cool, did you check out my TV special? And they're like, oh, you've been on TV? Oh. It's weird. It used to be like, oh, you get let's get a Comedy Central half hour, and now like almost no one cares anymore. Yeah. It's like, okay, we're glad you have credits, cool, but like it's more about going viral on YouTube, which is hard to do. But like, I mean, I lucked out that my heckler videos went viral, and that's what built a following. And then I just started doing videos about anything, about like dating advice, life advice, and it's weird, like I can't, like during Steve Martin's time, you didn't have that. It's like you either made a movie or you didn't.
Right. You got on the Tonight Show or you didn't.
Oh, you didn't. That was it. It's weird. You had no control. So now we have more control over our exposure, but now there's so many ways to get exposed. So it's like it's all diluted. So which is better? Would it be better to have like 3 TV networks and get on one, and that's it, you're famous? Or it's like, well, there's now 500 opportunity to do stand-up somehow on TV, but will people see it? So I don't know. I'm just lucky that all I know is like, look, all I can have control over is, am I funny? So I put out videos, but the thing I work on the most is like my stand-up. Like I definitely want, if people come to see me live, they don't regret it. They're not like, oh, your videos were much better. I've seen you live. You're not funny, actually. And of course, I want the comedy club bookers to be happy. I don't want them to be like, yeah, he's got TV credits, but he sucked. I would actually, I would rather be like, hey, maybe he doesn't have a lot of credits, but we really like him as a comedian, so we'll have him back. Because like that's what it comes down to. With audiences, no matter what credits you have, after 5 minutes, they're like, all right, whatever, are you funny? Right. Yeah. So, and we talk about that too. There's a lot of people in this business who are very funny and not famous, and there's a lot of people who are famous, and I'm like, I personally don't think that guy's funny at all.
Totally.
I won't name names. I'm not a jerk, but I'm like, there's so many people. I'm like, if I could wave a wand, if I own Netflix, I'm like, these are the people that would have specials right now.
Yeah. No, totally. We got to take a break for a sponsor message. So give us 3 seconds to get back to you on that.
First-rate comedy was second to none. The comics are waiting, so join in the fun. 2 decades of moral decay. Comedy on Broadway.
What's up, Kentucky? This is Rex Chapman. I've struggled with addiction in the past. Today, I'm often asked where someone can turn for help. Bridgeway Institute Kentucky offers NAD Plus IV therapy to end addiction without horrible withdrawals. I've used NAD Plus. NAD Plus is a revolutionary treatment that helps heal the brain-destroying disease of addiction. If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, visit Bridgeway Institute at bridgewaywellnessgroup.com. You might just be the one to save a life. That's bridgewaywellnessgroup.com.
And we're back. And I tell you what, if you haven't been to Kmart before, no, I'm just kidding.
Love that joke, man.
It'd be awesome if they actually sponsored us. We're bankrupt, but we're going to sponsor this pissant fucking podcast.
By the way, if anyone's ever been in a Kmart, were you surprised when they started shutting down? It's like, oh yeah, we always thought they were shut down. They just didn't lock the doors. Like any Kmart I've been in, I'm like, this should close tomorrow.
Right. It's kind of how I feel about a lot of stores nowadays. nowadays. Like Walmart used to be such a great store, and now it is like the dregs of humanity drag through there. It's an indoor yard sale.
You know, it is. Yeah, and you know why? Because a lot of them are 24 hours. So people are like, let's just go to Walmart. And like when you go at 1 a.m, no one dresses up.
No.
And I've seen, and as a comic, I've been in Walmart after midnight because the show ends and I'm like, everything's closed. I'm like, well, I just want to go get a snack or a soda.
Sure.
If there's a Walmart, it's going to be open. And you go in there and everyone, I'm like, did you just roll out of bed? And a lot of times I'm like, I think they did.
Yeah.
I think they just rolled out of bed because like they're just wearing ridiculous outfits. I'm like, all right, why not?
Those stores, like I'll take a Walmart though any day over a Dollar General. My God, Dollar Generals. It's like, let me wrap up some crap and sell it to you for $1. You don't need that $1. Give me your $1. I'll give you this rolled up piece of crap. It's disposable items that they sell at these
and they're
stores.
like, it's $1. What are you gonna say? No?
Right.
Just get it.
Right. You know, you're like, but you can get paper towels for $1. Yeah, but there's 3 paper towels. Come on. Go spend $3 and get a friggin' full roll. What are you doing?
But like actually the dollar store is where I go if I just want like a quick snack. I'm like, all right, I just want like a chocolate bar, and I'm like, I'll get a no-name brand I've never seen before. I'm like, it's $1, forget it, why not?
You know, if you want to watch a movie from like 1970, you can get one of those there too, which is fantastic. I hate them. It's almost as much as I hate flat earth people and vegans. I hate vegans. Okay. I really do. No, I hate them. First off, fuck you. All right. So second off, 10,000 years of evolution to put this like hard calcium in our mouth to choose fucking fuck you. You're not choosing all right, I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get on a rant. I get on rants about that shit. I hate that shit.
It's all good. I agree.
He says all good. I agree. Good. All right, that's good. And we will always be kind of along that way. I can't wait till I get a comic on the show that's like, I'm a vegan.
Well, I mean, I know a few vegans in LA. They're actually nice about it. That's a difference. I don't think we hate vegans because of their lifestyle. It's the ones with attitude.
It's the ones that got to bring it up every 5 seconds.
Exactly. You got to bring it up.
The ones that think they're better than you because they're a vegan.
Yeah,
It's like, bro, no.
And they say it like Jewish people are like, Jesus, I bring up a Jew all the time, but you say vegan more than I say Jew.
Exactly.
So it's like, my God.
Exactly. So I mean, I don't. To each his own, but I wouldn't shove my stuff in their face. I'm like, I do a lot of things that I believe are right, but I'm like, I'm not going to tell you what to do, man. You're all grown-ups here, man.
Right. I mean, I did a census. Aside from India, only 10% of the world are vegan/vegetarians. Only 10%. Okay, you guys don't have the numbers. You don't have the numbers. All right, India, fuck you. We don't have the numbers. India is like 30% vegan. Do you know that? Like the majority of that country is just vegan. I know too much about.
So the question is, all right. So I always ask, like, if there was an apocalypse, and like, because everyone jokes about like, oh, eating dog is disgusting. I'm like, listen, if you're starving, you think I wouldn't even like hesitate? I'm like, yeah, I saw a cat or a dog or a squirrel, I caught it. Yeah, I ate it. Absolutely, not even questioning. Well, dogs have souls. Yeah, and souls are delicious when you're starving. I'm hungry.
So the Asian guy will eat dog. Okay.
Not
so
first
the
choice,
joke was real.
Yeah, the joke was real.
It's the elephant in the room. I'm sorry I had to bring it.
No, dude. I'm like,
I've actually eaten dog. I've eaten dog and cat.
How does it taste?
Okay, so dog is like a stringy beef.
Okay.
And cat tastes like chicken.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because I've had frog. I've had shark.
Shark steaks are amazing.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I've had rabbit. What else? I forgot. I haven't had veal or venison yet.
Really?
Yeah. I just haven't had. I've had reindeer.
You've had reindeer?
Yeah. It just tastes like a more chewy sausage. It doesn't really taste anything.
Gamier.
Yeah, you know, but I mean, it's all about how they like.
David and I can get our guns out of our trucks and go shoot you a deer right now if you want. You are in Kentucky.
Let's do it.
He said, "Let's do it."
By the way, last week I was in upstate New York, and I'm driving home from my friend's house. He lives upstate. I was visiting. Not 5 minutes, and I left around like midnight. Not 5 minutes out of his house, I saw a deer on the side of the road. But I've never seen this because I've seen deer carcasses. But it was obviously, I guess, got hit by a car or something. But it was lying on its side, but its legs were just straight out.
Oh,
and I've never seen that before. I'm like, okay. But then, like 3 minutes later, there's another deer just standing on the side of the road, just looking dead at me, and almost looking like, have you seen my brother? Like it was so sad because I'm like, it was just like, it didn't run away. You'd think it would run away when it see a car. It was just like looking at me, and I'm like, does he know that other deer? It was so eerie because it was the proximity. I'm like, this is really eerie.
It's just like, I feel so bad for the family. We should write a card.
I don't want to be the one to tell him. You know?
I was half thinking like, should I drive back and pick up the deer? Like, would I be able to like bring it to a butcher shop or something? Or, like, I'm like, I don't know. All right, anyway.
It ends up being Tommy Boy. He wakes up in your car.
I know, exactly.
Man.
I thought, I'm like, what if it's just knocked out?
Right. That's why its legs are out like that.
Yeah. But all right. Anyway, but I'd never seen that before because I've seen like deer on the side, but it's weird how his legs were just straight out and like, sticking up, and I'm like, it was kind of comical.
Well, I mean, when they've been on the side of the road for a little while, like in the heat, like the gases build up, so everything stretches out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. All right.
And then the vultures come down and poke a hole in it. It goes.
Oh my God. All right. Now I know.
Yeah.
Now I know.
You know.
Anyway, this is a great comedy podcast, by the way. We're talking about like, dude. I have so many tangents in my brain. I'm sorry. I don't even know how I brought up deer. I'm sorry.
No. Absolutely. This is the essence of why this podcast exists. We want your tangents to fly there and smack the ceiling, and we like that. So you keep talking about whatever the hell you want to talk about. Besides, we just finished doing a weekend of 5 shows. We're all pretty loopy at this point.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, that's fair. And this is the first time that we've done a podcast after a comedy show, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just wanted, because I just always like to save my voice as much as possible on the stage.
That's understandable.
Like, actually, not even just like, you're worried about like, oh, my voice is getting hoarse, but you just want to like get tired by talking a lot.
Sure.
But afterwards, I'm like, hey, I can talk till I fall asleep because I ain't got no shows tomorrow.
Right.
So I didn't pick up any bitches after the show, so I guess I can talk to you guys.
They'll fucking left.
Bitches. Why are these bitches dating me? I don't know. Maybe you call them bitches all the time. I remember my friend said that was, he's like, what do fucking bitches like me? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe you don't call them bitches so much. Like, be a big part of it, maybe.
They don't really like that.
They don't like that much, you know?
It's not like you're like, come here, bitch. You're like, oh,
okay.
you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, my close friends who like we're joking around, we can do that, but like, you just met this girl, dude.
Right.
I'll be like, yo, bitch, you know? Like, at least you like, what I grew up with. Like, you can say, what's up, shorty? What's up, ma? But like, don't go straight to bitch.
Right.
Right.
You can't just like cut right to that. That's kind of, that's a personal thing.
No, and you know, when I moved to Harlem, like, I saw movies where they'd be like, yo, shorty, what? And I'm like, this is crazy. That doesn't work. And I think most women agree it doesn't work. I'm like, yeah, but if you live in that culture, it works. Like, not all the time, but there are women. It's crazy. Like, the reason those guys do is like, there are women who respond to that.
Sure.
Like, because it's part of their culture. So it's just know where you're at.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't go to like Park Avenue and stay outside of Chanel and be like, yo, bitch, you know. But there are parts of where I grew up. It's like, a bunch of girls walk by, you'd be like, what's up, shawty? One of them will turn around like, what's up? And I'm like, oh, that works. So,
dude, I've never had the confidence to talk to a woman like that, bro. Never, man.
I use the sexy voice.
What's that?
Give us the sexy voice, man.
How you doing?
Oh shit!
It almost worked on me.
I know,
man.
right?
See?
Okay.
See? You doing okay tonight? See, she giggled.
Oh my God.
See, she giggled. Look at that.
That's good, dude. No, but the first time I saw it, I was like, I can't believe you got the balls to do that. And when the girl turned around, I'm like, what, is she fucking crazy? I can't believe this is working. But I do my own version of that, but I don't do that. But like, that's where I learned game in Harlem. It was like, yo, it's all bravado, man. I'm like, yeah, I think it's true.
And then they're going, I don't know why I'm getting in the car with you.
You know, it's true. It's like a Jedi mind trick. It's crazy. It's just like I've done and said crazy things where like even as it's happening, I'm like, I can't believe this shit's working.
Right.
But I'm like, don't break, just keep it going, you know.
So, anything you want to plug that you got coming up?
Nothing, dude. I'm just on the road right now. I mean, I'm trying to. I mean, I'm always, you know. I submitted last year trying to get a Netflix special, and I'm sure I'll submit again sometime this year. But again, nothing right now. Like I said, I had my second Comedy Central half hour. It actually came out like a year ago. I like to say he just taped. I think you can say he just taped for like 2 years. You know.
Yeah, I think that's legit.
Yeah, but it aired. No one saw it because no one watches TV. But like, so
a lot of the new kids don't.
They don't.
They really
no one
don't.
watches it. Sometimes they will rerun my first one, and I'll get messages like, "Oh wow, I just saw your premiere." And I'm like, "Yeah, that premiered like in 2011." 2010, you know? But people like they don't know. You know, or my Showtime thing where we rerun, and I'm like, can't they see? Like, I don't. You know, my hair doesn't look like that anymore.
So weird.
But no one pays attention. So I'm like, again, I don't know. Is that to our advantage or disadvantage? I can't tell if it's good or a bad thing.
It's hard to tell nowadays. But social media, where can people find your stuff?
Oh, you can always find me on EliotChangOfficial. That's my YouTube channel. Oh, and I always just say 1 L, 1 T. That's a big mistake that I don't say it often enough on stage because people can't find me because they spell it with 2 L's or whatever.
And I made that mistake.
Yeah,
when I first saw that I was featured featuring for it. I was putting two. I was like, where is he?
Yeah, it's a very I was named after T.S. Eliot, the poet.
Oh, awesome.
So when Eliot's a last name, it's 1 L, 1 T. When it's a first name, it's 2 L's, But it's Eliot Chang Official. And if you just type that in, or if you just type in Eliot Chang Comedian, you'll find me. I have like at least over 500 videos on YouTube. Like I said, 18 million views. I got heckler videos. I've got a lot of dating advice videos, which I never thought would be the thing that would take off. But I was just throwing everything at the wall. And that's what stuck. It's like people like heckler videos, dating advice videos. I have a couple of like hidden camera live pickup videos. I don't have a lot of them, but I have a few.
Yeah.
I just don't have the time to do them all the time. People are always like, do more of those. I'm like, I don't have the time. It takes. I need to hire other people to follow me around. It's a big process, but like, vlogs and heckler videos are easy to make. So.
Yeah.
But that's it.
And they're genius. That was one of the things that Dave and I, when we were doing some research on you before this weekend, that was one of the things we locked in on. And I told David, I said, I'm half tempted to do crowd work just to get him fired up so he'll do stuff. And then I was like, nah, I can't do that to him. But I was so tempted because it was like, because I love crowd work.
Yeah.
And I get him talking, then you'd be like, bam, bam.
Because I love crowd work too. And it's funny, like, I'm lucky that I've had good heckler interactions. But people ask me, do you love it when it happens? I'm like, no, I don't love it when it happens because I'd rather do my act.
Right.
And I'm glad it worked out to be funny. So I put it on YouTube. But as you guys know, like, I'm only putting stuff on YouTube that ended up being funny. There's a lot of interactions that are uncomfortable. And you're like, oh, there's nothing salvageable.
Right.
This is now just an awkward moment we're all sharing. So I'd rather don't come and heckle me. Like,
right.
If there's a heckler, I'll take care of it. I'll try to make it funny. But please, people, if you're my fans, don't be like, I'm your biggest fan, so I'm gonna come and heckle you.
Yeah.
That's so funny, man, because that's your reputation.
I know.
And you're like, no, don't do that to me, man.
At the same time, I don't tell people, if someone goes, oh, your reputation's, you're a heckler killer, I don't say, fuck you, don't call me that, because I'm like, look, whatever gets my attention on me,
Bingo.
I'll take it. Eyes on my video, I'll take it. But I'm just saying, in general, don't come with the purpose of heckling.
Right.
Well, guys, we're at the end of wrapping up our first half hour. For Patreon fans, you get to get some bonus feature that we're going to film here in a second, and so you want to make sure you check that out. But Elliot, you got any final thoughts for this free segment here?
No, I had a great time with Josh and David. They're hilarious comics. You see their names anywhere on a marquee, go see them. They're good dudes, but also good comics. More importantly, obviously. But no, I had a blast. Thank you for even having me on this. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Thank you for being a cool headliner too, brother.
Yeah, I try.
I asked him, I was like, what do you want me to say for your credits? He's like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Just anything, dude. And I'm like,
I love
so
that.
humble, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude.
He's like,
my parents raised me right.
David, you got anything, man?
No, man. I'd like for everybody to follow me at David Williams Comedy, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff, man. And look for me.
Absolutely. Well, you guys catch these guys online, and definitely if you have an opportunity to see anybody here, please definitely do that. But for Eliot Chang and David Williams, my name is Josh Harm. We'll talk to you guys soon.